What you're about to see here is a portion of a video of the Caprahenia build back on October the 7th that I cut from a video. I was going through build day 5 on that, and I got to where I was going to hook up Crossfire telemetry, and I was just working through it all real time, straight up on the bench as I was doing it. And I ran into about 10 minutes of flailing around because the two wires on the UART for Mavlink telemetry were incorrectly connected. Transmit was going to transmit, receive was going to receive. And it was still giving me a supposedly 50% packet success with telemetry. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you watch this. My reason for showing this and going back, this was from October the 2nd, and finding this video again was because I think I've got other friends out there who are having some of the same problem. And this hardware can act flaky as hell. We'll call it flakiness or something in the video. I forget what new word I came up with in the video, but it really works flaky sometimes. Flakily, I think I said in the video. Anyway, this is that 10 or 15 minutes from October 7th that had been put on the cutting room floor that I think's really kind of important in a way. Watch me flail for 11 minutes and 20 seconds anyway. It's fun to watch. So I've gone ahead and connected to, well, I'll just show it to you. I've gone ahead in my Windows and connected the Wi-Fi to the Crossfire transmitter, which brings up this IP address where the Wi-Fi is actually working there at 192.168.4.1. And then over here, all I have to do is UDP connect. First time I have to give it the port number. And we see down here, we do have link. It's not great. Yeah, bop to 100 per second. Now it's starting to get parameters. But this isn't really going to work. I'm going to go ahead and let it work in the background while we work on making it better. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come out to the internet and we're going to look at the H743 version 2 layout. And you see I am right here, ground voltage I've got. And then I've got CRSF on these two pins right here. That's giving me CRSF telemetry, only about 22 data points, I think. That's what it shows in the Crossfire manual as only being. And right here, I'm doing the Mavlink telemetry, which is a full set of Mavlink telemetry with hundreds of data points. So that's TX4. So in the Ardu pilot mapping, we come over and we look at UART TX4, RX4 right here. We have to go all the way to the last column. If we're in iNav, we'll address that as UART 4. If we're in Ardu, we're going to look at serial 6 here. So you see we're still not working. We're working after a fashion, but let's see if we can I can make it flyable. So let's see what's going on there. Serial 6. We'll look at this connection real quick. Shows it's a Mavlink 2 connection with about 50% packet loss. The bytes per second aren't very good at all. But again, let's see what we can do about this. So we're going to go connect with the COM port USB cable that's actually connected to it over there to do our MAV-link. This is the same MAV-link. We're trying to just get this same exact MAV-link we're using through the USB cable right now through another source. So that was serial 6, wasn't it? There's one problem right off the bat. Serial 6 protocol needs to be 2. Although it had already auto detected that, in my humble opinion, it was set to none. I'm going to leave this at 57600 right now for a second. We'll just disconnect. I'm going to cycle the flight controller now that I changed the perimeter inside of it. Rats. Inactivity alarm. So that means we're going to have to go back and reconnect. No, Wi-Fi is still connected. Is it still at the proper address? It's not actually working, you see. So we're actually going to go back and disconnect from that. I'm going to go ahead and just try to connect back here again without recycling the radio. I made a change in the flight controller, so I had to recycle it. Well, when I make changes, I go for a cold boot every time. Certain boards and electronics are made up where you don't have to do that. But I still do it because a cold boot, I'm sure, gets everything started up fresh. Warm boots, sometimes not so much. There we go. And do we have rats? So I'm going to shut down the... Yes, I know, radio. I'm going to cycle the radio.
Welcome to OpenTX. OSD1 manual mode. High rates. Off. Disarm.
Crossfire transmitter doesn't give me this much trouble normally. I should have just rebooted the whole thing. It was just a slight change to the serial 6 options perimeters in the Ardu plane. So laziness will cost you time usually. Let's connect. Thank you. Yes, now we're cooking. So now we can go back UDP. Now, because it seemed to have auto-detected that it was a MAV-Link 2 connection, in my humble opinion, we're not going to do much better right now than we did before. And I'm not going to sit here for a long time period trying to get this to work. I'm just going to go ahead and kill this, reattach, and we're quickly going to try that 115/200 baud rate. It's not what most of the documentation says, but I have seen it in there. So we'll change this to 115/200 baud rate. We'll write that out to the flight controller. Disconnect. I'm going to go ahead and cycle the receiver, or the whole flight controller actually. I'm going to go ahead and cycle the
Telemetry lost.
radio. Bring up the radio first, just for kicks and grins.
Welcome to OpenTX.
And I'll plug back in the flight controller. All right. Battery just finished charging. I don't think you can still be connected there after I cycled you there. Windows. So I disconnected and clicked connect again. Come on. There we go. Do we actually have a connection? We do, we do. So now we'll go UDP again. Connect. See, changing that to 115. 200 didn't do too great, did it? Okay. Yep. That didn't do real good. Dragon link dropped. I'm going to close this. I normally don't have this trouble. Not with Crossfire. Crossfire's usually rock solid. But I'm also doing a lot of different things with the computer right now. I've still got my video program up making this video at the same time. Probably shouldn't do that, should I? Connection again? Yes. So now then, back into Mission Planner. I had it set to UDP the last time I was in it. So you see it's just going to start doing its thing without, just by opening it. So far, not very good, huh? So at that moment that day, I switched the two wires for the MavLink telemetry physically on the hardware. But this, up until this point, about 11 minutes and 20 seconds was my flail that day, only for about 10 minutes before I figured it out. Then that same day, this is what I went on to say after I fixed it. Well, now I have switched those two wires on the MavLink UART. TX was going to TX and RX was going to RX. That doesn't work. That's like having the mouthpiece on your phone going to their mouthpiece. Never going to work. Your mouthpiece has to go to their earpiece. Their mouthpiece has to go to your earpiece. So let's see what happens now. I've gone ahead and connected the Wi-Fi and tested it, trying to save time. This video's getting long. So now I'm just going to open Mission Planner. Click. This is set up UDP. So sensing it had a UDP connection the last time it opened, it says, hey, I'm going to try that again before I bitch. So here it is reading in parameters. Now why, with those two wires crossed, did it read or did the packets work at 50%? That's something I've seen over the years that's just strange. That's why when I tell people if it doesn't work, switch the transmit and receive wires on the UART around. See, this works. 100% link quality. I don't know how it's going to work at range. It's on minimum power right now. This is a Nano RX Pro. But why did it seem to work, but worked flakily, with the TX and RX wires wrong? They're correct now, but pretty wild, isn't it? So, I have proven that my ground and voltage is correct because my receiver powers up. I have proved that my transmit and receive is correct on my, and see, I can show this with the telemetry connection rather than USB, that my CRSF works. Oops. I've got a throttle cut or a throttle arm switch. My throttle, you can't see it work until I actually flip a switch to enable that channel. So there's the CRSF working perfectly. And it's working through the MavLink telemetry connection. Now I also have CRSF telemetry going over the Crossfire link. Let me show you that real quick. And at that point in the original video, I went on to show that you get about 20 telemetry values off the CRSF portion of a connection. But the MavLink can be routed through the Crossfire transmitter wirelessly to a computer and give a full MavLink telemetry connection, just as if you had a USB cable connected to the platform. But I cut that, it's about 12, 13, 14 minutes. I cut that out of that original video on the Caprahenia 2 build because it just got way too long. That video was 30 minutes as it was. It was Caprahenia build day 5, I think it was. So I was really torn that day about what I wanted to do with this information, because for the 11 minutes and 20 seconds or so that I flailed around there looking at what parameters may or may not be correct, this, that, and the other, it appeared there was 50% packet success with the connection. It even started reading parameters in at one point. I don't remember if it got them all the way in or not. Sometimes it does. I don't see how it can. The wires are connected wrong. And I've come up against this a couple of times now, to the point now where if I have any kind of problems with that day was probably the third time I came across that, and in, we'll call it 10 minutes, I decided to switch the wires and see if that fixed it, because that's what I do now when something like that doesn't work. But I did want to put this video out to show people how it can be so frustrating that it appears to work partially. And I think I called the Crossfire connection a Dragon Link connection in there someplace. Sorry about that. But again, I just wanted to share this information and show you how electronics with these flight controllers and such we're using here, boy, they got gremlins in them sometimes, it seems. So when I see somebody with a telemetry connection that isn't working on the bench as if it were a USB cable, 10 feet apart, 20 feet apart, it better be working. First thing I say is, boy, I suspect those transmit and receive wires on that UART. This is one of the reasons why. This little flail right here is one of the reasons why. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Just wanted to share that. I hope it helps somebody. Thank you, guys.